Republicans were expecting a red wave during the midterm elections in 2022, but didn't get it because the Republicans remained flat-footed on the abortion issue. They're all over the map. The current administration especially doesn't give a damn about real women, because if they did, why would they support men and women's sports? Why would the current administration support men and women's locker rooms? Why do they support men being women in the first place? Why did the current administration defile the White House by having a trans woman show her fake boobs in public for everyone to see? It's just ridiculous. Why does the current administration support canceling women across the United States? If they really cared about women's rights, think about it. Hey, good evening. Welcome back to the Gregory Wright Show. My name is Greg Wright. I had to take a little break because my head was exploding about things that are occurring around the world and within the United States. You know, we're only on the brink of World War III. You know, protests on universities and colleges within the United States is only getting worse. The plot thickens. Everything Joe Biden and most of his administration touches turns into shit, right? Things are not the way they used to be before Biden and most of his administration got elected, okay? But I want to lean in and talk to the same people in the room, the people who know the difference between right and wrong, the people who know the difference between male and female, and poor performance and great performance, and black and white, blue and yellow. No fantasy land there. People who are God-fearing, people who were raised with conservative Christian values. Listen to me. If you're a parent, especially if you're a female parent or teen or whatever the case is, listen to me very closely. Joe Biden and most of his administration can give two shits about you. Okay? This abortion stuff. All they want, they don't give a shit if you destroy your family, if you destroy yourself, if you kill an unborn fetus or a child. They don't care. The only thing they care about is getting their base, the people who voted for him in 2020, to get them riled up, get them emotionally connected so he can have the same type of turnout in 2024 as he did in 2020. To remain in power, to continue to destroy this great nation. What president in their right mind would get out of bed and purposely pit family members against each other? Who would intentionally bleed out the middle class? Who would intentionally open borders and destroy our black communities by closing down community centers and make them into migrant shelters? What president in their right mind would do that? Well, the only president in their right mind that did that and is doing it in my lifetime is President Joe Biden. Okay? Listen up. I'm going to hand you proof that Joe Biden and most of his administration does not give a shit about females. Females meaning that you were biologically born a female. You have female stamped on your birth certificate. You have all the characteristics of a female. You can, at maturity, you could birth a child. You could breastfeed a child. You could nurture a child. You have estrogen without having chemicals pumped into you. That's what I mean by that. A real woman, your mama. That's a real woman. All right? Your sister. Real woman. All right? Listen to me. The first place I want you to go is this New York Post article. Is dated August 2022, but don't worry about that. These guys have been working on this since Biden took office in 2021. So it's relevant, right? Biden's new Title IX rules deputize teachers to override parents on gender identity, right? New York Post article that I will post the link in the description below in this video so you can read it at your leisure. Second document I want to point you to, and this is at the federal level. This is not a news article. This is federal level. It comes from the Department of Education, and it's titled Non-Discrimination on the Basis of Sex and Education Programs or Activities Receiving Federal Financial Assistance. So that tells you right off the bat that our minds and our activities and what we set out to do on a day-to-day basis, we should not be relying on federal assistance, even state assistance, unless it's an emergency, right? If it's an emergency, then yeah, maybe you may contemplate taking up those options. But if no one's dying, no one's sinking in quicksand, then you can rely on family members and friends to get the type of resources you need to survive that circumstance, right? But to perpetuate the need to depend on state and federal government assistance is at your detriment, because especially in this case, when it comes to non-discriminatory actions against certain people in institutions that are receiving federal aid, you got to do what the federal government tells you to do. Once you receive that aid, you got to do what they tell you to do, whether you think it's right or wrong. Because if you don't do it, they're going to take it away. And then you're going to be right back in that situation. If you haven't figured out a way to get yourself out of your situation without state and federal assistance, you're going to stay in that situation. It's called critical thinking, folks. Critical thinking. If you need it, by all means, sign up for it. If you don't, and you just adding it for a little gravy, divorce yourself from it, because it will bite you in the ass in the end. Okay? Just want to get down to the nitty gritty as proof that Biden and most of his administration do not care about females. Now, this Title IX from the Department of Education, I think the last time it was revised was 1972. And it basically guaranteed protections for biologically born women who had a disability or were pregnant or whatever the case is, to prevent them from being discriminated against during the normal course of business. So if they wanted to enter into a sport, if they want to enter into a chess club or take part in a debate or a spelling bee or whatever, these biological females could not be discriminated against because they were pregnant, because, they're sitting in a wheelchair or whatever. If their mouth worked during a spelling bee, then they should be in a spelling bee, right? If everything else but their legs are working, they could be in a spelling bee. They could be in a chess club. They could do anything that the law permitted biologically born females to do. This revised Title IX that came out in April 19th, 2024, not too long ago, about 11 days ago. Don't have me do math in public, right? About what, 8 days ago, something like that. Let me see, 19. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. About 9 days ago, had to count it on the calendar. Sorry about that. Fairly recent, right? It expands the non-discrimination protection from biologically born females to, guess what? LGBTQ plus, and then trans people. So, okay, let me get this straight. From the outside looking in, that may sound innocent. But if you're around this stuff as much as I am, with pronouns, mispronouncing people, biological males identifying as females who want to use female restrooms in education facilities and facilities across this nation, then you begin to connect the dots on, okay, wait a minute. I have the potential to be in trouble with the federal government if I, as a male student, or I, as a biologically born female student, as an example, witness someone with a ding dong born biological male using the same shower facilities as me and my other biologically born female friends, right? If I tell this person to get out, or if I make a big stink about it, if, we force this individual out of the shower facility, there will be repercussions for forcing this male that was born biologically male, who identifies as a female, who wants to use female showers. That's what this thing says. And it doesn't specifically spell it out. I mean, this Department of Education Title IX document is almost 1,600 pages long. It also doesn't really specifically say, but you kind of gotta read in between the lines. But if there is a pattern of me as a biologically born male misgendering, if there's a trend of me misgendering another biologically born male who identifies as female, and I say something like, come on, man, stop playing, or come on, man, get over there, or hey, Jimmy, because I've known him for Jimmy for years, and then the next day he wants to go by Juliet for some reason, right? So if I show a pattern of mispronouncing, or in this case, I guess misgendering, right? But that I'm not that crazy to be imaginative, right? I live in the real world, right? If I have a pattern of saying something to him that he doesn't like, then he has the power to press a sexual harassment case on me or complaint on me, and there could be federal repercussions because my eye and my mind see male, right? Just as clear as I see the sun in the sky on a sunny day. Why in the hell am I gonna call a sunny day a cloudy day? That's insane. Why am I gonna call a male female? Then I'm gonna get in trouble for it. And that's not even the worst part. The worst part is that if a child in public school who may be confused about his or her gender identity comes to school one day looking down, and then a teacher who goes for all this shit says, "Hey, what's going on, Johnny? What's going on, Julie? Well, you know, my mom and my dad, they don't want to call me by the name that I set for myself because I identify as the sex other than I was born with." Right? So Johnny wants to be called Juliet. Juliet wants to be called Johnny, but the parents are not going for it. The New York Post article suggests that this new Title IX revision from the Department of Education could be used as a bludgeoning tool to force parents to either obey their children's wishes in their self-identification, or they will get the state and federal government involved in child abuse, because it's considered child abuse to tell your kid the truth and to call your kid by the name on the birth certificate. Child abuse. I mean, it's happening across America, folks. Wake up. People who say they don't care about politics, wake up. People who say that they don't care about the stuff, wake up. You want to get up, go to work, cook at nighttime, help your kids with homework, start your day all over again without paying attention to this stuff. It's gonna bite you in the ass. You need to pay attention. You gotta pay attention. It's coming to a theater near you. And it's probably happening to one of your family members, but you don't know about it because it's embarrassing to get CPS called on you and inform other family members outside of the situation. Right? You got to look at things like that. You could potentially be in state and federal trouble if you choose not to go along with this reprogramming of America, this reprogramming of society in this revised Title IX document. Wait, there's more. There's more. See, this document revised on April 19th, 2024, left out the trans piece in this. Not just people who just purely identified if you're a biological male and you identify with being a female. That's what I talked about so far. But I'm also talking about teenagers that are in the transition phase of losing their original body parts and gain another body part. And it also includes people who just identify, young people who just identify from one naturally born species to another. Just word them out. What this new revised document left out was the inclusion of trans women, who are men, in women's sports, and biological men who identify as female to be in women's sports. That's what this document left out for now. But it's coming. And the reason why it's not in there now is because it's April, right? This is an election year. This whole thing will blow up in Biden's face and ruin the chances of him getting reelected if they put that last piece in there. I'll say it again. Biological males who identify as females without getting their ding dong cut off, or biological males who are physically transitioning to females. Later on, this document will contain protections for them to be involved in female sports at the federal level. So at the state level, where they got bans on trans athletes in female sports, or sexual identity changes, males who identify as females participating in women's sports, all those state bans like Florida and Alabama and all that, this document at the federal level from the Department of Education is going to trump that. Is going to supersede that. You want to talk about a crazy world? We are living in crazy times. So I implore you, pay attention, spread the word. Wake up. That's it for the show. Thank you.